Hey, folks, welcome back to the Nerd Network to Section Nerdy One, where we are continuing our Trek Tuesday watch alongs of Star Trek The Next Generation here on Tuesdays. I said Tuesdays enough. How you doing, John?
I'm doing well. I'm gonna I'm gonna see how we can watch this tonight because if you remember, if folks out there in TV land remember, I had some trouble last week getting Paramount Plus to
Oh,
load up,
right.
and I'm gonna try it again and see what happens. Um, I am I am very hopeful that it will work out better for us this time because I don't know what was going on last time. It didn't make any sense. It was just giving me a black screen whenever it um, would go to the appropriate episode. Let's see. And they've got such a fantastic interface. I say somewhat sarcastically.
Somewhat sarcastic.
I hate it, but we may have to go the old-fashioned route. It's giving me that same. Let's see. Oop, I lost you for a moment there.
I'm still here. I am not going anywhere. But you left.
Hey, no time like showtime for for
This is not a
everything.
Showtime show. This is a Paramount Plus show.
no
You got it.
no time like showtime for everything to fall apart.
Oh, no, a little bit of my dinner hanging out.
Oh, hey, look, it
That's
popped up.
dignified.
It took it a little bit of time, but it actually came up.
I just realized that I spelled questions wrong. Leave your thoughts on nerdy questitons. If
Hey,
any of
look
you
at
out
that.
there have questitons,
Question,
we would love to hear them.
Questitons.
That sounds like a race in Star Trek. You good?
I'm actually good this time. I want to make sure um that I have the same time code that you do, so that we're not making jokes and comments out of sync. But
I am at 00, so
I am
45 and 31 apparently.
I apparently am good. So just tell me when to hit the button.
All right, folks, if you're out there watching along, we're actually going to do We'll Always Have Paris and Conspiracy tonight. We were going to do all three and tag in, what the hell the last one's called? I keep
The
forgetting.
the neutral zone.
The Neutral Zone. We were going to tag in the Neutral Zone, but we decided that three is a lot, so we're going to hang with two tonight.
And I, by the way, I appreciate that. And for all of you out there, it's because I am gainfully employed again. I am substitute teaching, which is something that I've considered teaching for 30 plus years and never did it. And I love it. It's one of the best things. But it does mean I have to be up pretty early. So these late nights aren't something that I can handle on a regular
So
basis.
no marathons is what I'm hearing.
Ooh, not right
Eh.
now.
All right, folks, if you're out there watching, go ahead and queue up on Paramount Plus. It is episode 24 of season one of Star Trek Next Generation. It's called We'll Always Have Paris. Queue it up at the very beginning, and you can sync up with us. We'll have the timestamp and the episode title here on the screen. If you get off, jump back over, look at the screen, you'll see it there. And we'll be hanging out, chatting throughout, and John will nerd us up a bunch. So, you're ready, John?
I'm ready. Just tell me when.
All right. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, go. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Because we had some issues on our Daredevil recordings last time. Me and Mo got off on each other. Like, oh, God, that sounded terrible. Got
Wow.
off sync with each other. And we were having conversations out of sync. Anyways, here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. It
Oh,
is a little very warm in here. My Sorona.
love it. Come again? I really actually kind of like this. This is an excellent example of how they took a rather generic set. In this case, it was actually, I believe, part of the original engineering set from the
Okay.
from the movies, because they were that kind of silver with the black lines on it. But they really made it look like a different space, especially putting in that graphic in the back that kind of does the fencing.
I really like how it's changing to show the hits.
Uh huh.
Um,
Hmm. Dun dun dun. How very interesting.
missed the data.
Ha ha.
That name sounds familiar.
It seems that he knows what's going on. Not just him.
Hmm.
Alrighty, back to our intro that we love so much. So, um, this would be
What?
the point that we should probably mention that.
Give me a second. You got to mute this because right now I'm getting a lot of horns and I can't hear
Mhm.
you.
No, I get that.
Oh crap!
What?
I need to fix this because the timestamp I'm looking at is how long the episode is, not.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine says 441 right now, 443 right now.
We're getting there. Hang on. I got a whole intro to work on it.
While you're doing that, I'll point out that this is the first episode since Tasha Yar passed away. She will continue to be in the main credits through the end of the season. It was cheaper just to leave her there because they wanted to pay her for those episodes she was credited in. Um, so they didn't bother to go back and change the credits.
What is he doing?
Taking off parts of his fencing uniform.
Well, yeah, but why is he whacking himself with it?
He is a troubled man.
Okay. He's Jean-Luc Picard.
Yes, it is.
No kidding.
As she has done very little else this season. Wow.
You got something out for Troy?
No, I'm just living up to the John is the sarcastiest this week.
Sarcastiest.
Also, Will Wheaton hasn't appeared in this episode and also won't until the end of the season. I'm not sure whose blood he's trying to wipe off that thing, but he's doing fencing wrong if that's the case.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I know. It's in that recent scene we saw with Troy and Picard talking. It was actually filmed with Denise Crosby's arm still in the shot as Yar. They sometimes film things out of order, and she's been dead for a few weeks, and yet
Yeah.
her arm was still there. So much about this set. That is the first French person who actually was French in the show. And if you look at the device that guy behind him is stroking,
It looks like a bunch of bongs.
it was in the
Also,
last
that's
season.
really an awkward way to stroke it.
Yes, but it was also in the last season of Lower Decks. That was the
Yeah.
instrument that was mentioned.
What was her name?
To Lynn.
Lynn.
That matte painting of Paris was reused in Star Trek VI in the background of the president's office. And if you notice behind that man's shoulder, there's a diamond-shaped chrome shelf. That is originally from Kirk's apartment furniture in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan and Star Trek III. It was also used in the TNG pilot Encounter at Farpoint, and Counselor Troy's quarters and Naked Now. Did not go. So that menu that he just tried to hand him, we
I had one of those diamond-shaped racks.
really,
yes,
I love it. I always wanted one.
It was
strictly
20 years ago, 25 years ago.
It would have had to have been. Yep, it was a very 80s, early 90s thing.
Yeah, it was actually my stepfather's.
So that menu that
Captain, there's a holiday for you.
the clear acrylic menu that he tried to hand him, included such delicacies as croissants de lithium, Klingon targ a la mode, tribbles din la blancan, and lenta mater flambe.
Wow. Hmm.
As there's a bird that just randomly flies in. I love the bird.
Just like to see the bird just go.
A lot of this is based on the movie Casablanca.
Okay.
In fact, Picard recalled the name of the cafe on Sardona 7 or Sardona 8 as the Blue Parrot Cafe.
That seems like a dangerous place to live.
It very much would be, in fact. So the premise of this story was a combination of ideas from two different writers. And you'll see that there's also the time anomaly story.
What?
Aha!
Please be ready, Captain.
This episode was affected by the writer's strike, and
Right.
the end of it, they had a hard time writing.
Oh, is the end of this episode going to be utter garbage?
No, not necessarily, but Robert Legato and Rick Berman spent 40 minutes on the telephone with Hannah Louise Shearer, who wrote the episode. While she refused to write the lines during the strike, Berman would suggest dialogue, and Shearer would give her opinions, with Legato taking down handwritten notes.
Hmm.
Sorry, I've got a kitten in my. That, of course, would be Michelle Phillips. What I was saying, though, is the original writer stated later that she was not happy with the final result, saying that they were writing one of the most romantic episodes in the world, but it was toned down over 75%.
Yeah.
So Michelle Phillips here is first became well known as a member of the Mamas and the Papas. And she's the mother of China Phillips, who went on to have her own singing career with Wilson Phillips in the 80s and early 90s.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm. So you just went, he'd never do anything to hurt anyone, but he might have.
But he might have.
Like, the fuck? It's not a great starship. It's the great starship.
He's done that laugh before with Crusher. That
Yep.
earlier when they were talking about the hiccups, there was 2 seconds of footage that was not remastered because they couldn't find the original film of Riker, you know, reacting to Data. Yeah, I know. Everybody just kind of went, "Wait, what?" The plot doesn't allow it quite yet.
The script says that comes later.
So scenes like this tended to happen a lot during the first season, and I believe. Okay, so not that part. That just happened this one time.
Mm-hmm. I
What was that?
hate Data. I really, really hate Data.
Those turbolift scenes they tended to include, as everybody looks gingerly in. They included those scenes quite a bit because in designing the show, many of the people involved in the creative team said, "Okay, this is 100 years past everything we know in Star Trek," and they suggested having transporters on the bridge, and instead of using turbolifts, they would just use transporters to go everywhere.
You're right.
And Roddenberry said no. Um, he didn't want to do that because they'd had too many great scenes in the original series of characters using that time in the elevator for exposition
Right.
and plot and so forth. So they tended to do that a lot in the first season. It still happens some throughout the rest of the series, but not nearly as much.
And then when you get down to Far Future Discovery, it's just ping, 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 ping.
Yeah. I don't know why in that large room they were all standing 2 inches apart from each other, aside from the fact that
TV aspect ratio.
yeah, exactly 4:3 aspect ratio.
That is something when I binged Voyager late last year, that is something that really bugged me. Was it seemed like every time that
Ooh,
one of the
hey, that's not working right.
seems like whenever one of the officers wanted to talk to another, they got intimately close.
Yep, yep. It is also why you have the security person standing behind that horseshoe instead of sitting because they had to fill the space. And
Right.
then when we went to the movies, which are 16 by 9 or 20 by whatever, you had the lines, you had that separation, and it was wider than it was tall, so you couldn't have somebody stand behind. Um, can't lose 2 security people a week in a row. There we go.
that seemed a little weird.
Yep.
Let me just grin at you while you say it.
Yeah.
Oh, look, someone else in the medical staff.
Yeah, the first season, they had 2 or 3 people that were there pretty frequently. That and the woman with the gray hair, graying silverish hair.
Mm-hmm.
He needs the Indigo Girls because they can get closer to find.
He needs what?
The Indigo Girls. One of their favorite famous songs is "Closer to Find." Oh my.
Well, this guy seems a little psychotic.
He's found lectoids in the 8th dimension. Sorry, Buckaroo
Well,
Banzai reference.
he doesn't show up until 2003 or 2020, 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
Into Darkness.
Huh. Dun dun. Especially if you two go on the holotech together.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all those pillows they've had to put on that because they use those very thin pads. You can't possibly understand. No, you do understand.
Oh, you do understand.
Too well.
I heard we opened my crack.
Yeah.
Which is not correct.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. Wouldn't that cover the Federation?
Probably.
Because it's 70,000 light years for Voyager.
Mhm.
Like, that's a massive chunk of the Alpha Quadrant. Everybody looks to the doctors like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with him.
Thought it was a crack. Now it's a hole.
Hey, there's a hole in every crack. I'm going to hell.
Mhm. How quickly they are all like out of there. Huh. Do we now?
There you go, John.
Kitten alert. Kitten alert. Oh, oh. Kitten did not want to be up here.
Eh.
Oh.
I do not like this dynamic.
It was supposed to be terribly romantic. This is what happens when you have a writer's strike. I mean, that's not what happens when you have a writer's strike. It's because of the writer's strike.
So it's what happens when you have a writer's strike.
Notice also there's yet another episode where there's a significant amount of new uh, ambient music playing throughout the episode. This is another one that was written by Ron Jones and is included in that like 40 hours of music that he put out a while back that I've talked about
Nice.
before. They didn't go for canned, you know, already pre-produced music, which Star Trek tends to do quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. The biggest example of which is it's been a long road getting from there to here.
Look at this. The first time Picard's actually looking like a human.
Or leaned against the bulkhead.
Yep. And laughed. Like really laughed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. I will say the remastered effects that are redone. Well, that is an interesting pad she's holding and very different from what I see any other time.
Well, it's got a little butt thermometer there.
Mm, yeah.
Her accent just throws me off every time.
Yeah.
I wanted to see how he was doing. She reminds me of like a jacked up Russian.
Well, I mean, she is British, so
That ain't a British accent.
nope.
That is a. Yeah, I don't know.
Ah, there we go. Another example of the failed attempt at trying to put a romance in between Picard and Crusher,
Hmm.
as they're blatantly talking about the fact that Crusher doesn't want to try to compete. Bum bum bum. Interesting pronunciation too that he calls her Janice, where it's written Janice.
Janice. No pressure, Picard.
Great close up of the sick bay display, the biobed display,
Mm-hmm.
which is was pulled directly from Star Trek: The Motion Picture and then Star Trek Two. And interesting that the biobed scanner is on that bed, which normally it is not,
Hmm.
as that's the one in the middle of the room.
Wow. I don't want to risk anyone else, so let's send the expendable robot. How do you know that? Why would kidding
Interesting that he's not taking a phaser and or a tricorder.
or anything? I mean, to be fair, Data is a walking tricorder.
True. Those are the same computer panels that Wesley took his exam on a few episodes back.
Oh, that's funny.
And those the blue bars that are lit up would end up being reused in Star Trek Five as the whoops. fact, if you look at it, that entire set is the same set as the Starbase where Wesley took his exam.
Bum, 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 bum. What's up, Joanne? We're rocking out to some action music with
Hey,
Data.
Joanne. Yeah, in Star Trek Five, the brig used those. They're basically just fluorescent tubes that are lit up.
They definitely look like fluorescent light bulbs.
Yep. But when Kirk and Spock and McCoy are sent to the brig in Star Trek Five: The Final Frontier, that's what that was. It was reused for that. They changed the color
You
of them.
know, you're really conditioned as a fat dude to understand you don't fit in small spaces.
Huh,
When I just said, there's no way he fits through there. And he's just like, I walk through.
look at
Because
that!
I'm Brent Spiner and I'm the size of a twig.
Yeah, I do like the effect for the time vortex thingy. Oh, he does have a phaser.
If it blows up, he did not.
Well, that's reassuring.
Yeah, let's just hurl around some antimatter until everything works. I just want to clarify a portal is opening to another dimension, and he's going to shove antimatter into it to close it. Is that correct?
In theory, there we
So
go.
he's going to bomb the other universe.
Well, now.
Probably the guy standing at the front. Eh?
Why was Crusher hiding her? Did she have her locked up in a closet
Eh?
until Picard gets there? Fair. Mhm. He had another person who doesn't seem to understand holodecks, even though they were. I mean, it's not that they were widely used prior to this, especially not on starships. But look at that espresso machine behind them.
it was like Zach's.
Yeah.
When you're downstairs in Zach's house and he turns that thing on, it's like, Wah! It's like his, well, not his current car because I broke it, but do you hear the French music in the background?
Mm-hmm.
It's a French play on the team. It just went do 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 do. That's adorable. Ah.
Those chairs in the background that have no backs on them would go on later to be reused as 10 forward
So
as
cool.
at the bar.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen Whoopi yet.
Nope, she doesn't come around until season 2. And then it, over a course of several episodes, seems that either she has or has not been there since the very beginning. Here we go.
Ah.
Oh, Michelle Phillips had been known as quite the woman for many years by many people, and as a keepsake, she apparently gave Patrick Stewart a pair of her panties that she wore during the filming of the episode, and he kept them pinned to the door of his dressing room for the remainder of the series' run.
What?
I got this from Memory Alpha and from IMDb.
Okay.
So there you go, Patrick Stewart, quite the ladies' man after all.
I am currently running through a trailer for 1923.
Alrighty.
All right, so we are queued up for the beginning conspiracy. I have to run to the restroom.
I understand. We can. This will
Yeah.
give me a moment for me to apparently wait the requisite amount of time I need for Paramount to actually show me the episode,
Ah.
as that's what happened last time. I cannot wait for us to start this episode. So,
Joanne.
yes, the panties.
All right. I shall return. I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
and you know what? One last parting thought there. I believe California Dreamin', not by the Mamas and the Papas, but somebody covering it, was actually used in season 2 of Picard when they first got to 2024, and that was a song that was actually written by the Mamas and the Papas and performed by them. So
That's cool.
interesting little connection there, as she was part of the Mamas and the Papas.
That's cool. She should have came back for card 3 or 2.
Ah, that would have been cool. Ah,
All right,
all
right
right.
back.
Okay.
John, you back?
I am. And I'm wearing my tie.
What
Check
is
it out.
that?
It's a Lego tie. It's a TIE fighter.
Make you the person. Hang on. What the hell? Oh, there we go. That works. It's a Lego TIE Fighter tie. What the hell is that?
It is a clip-on. Uses a really freaking strong magnet. Ugh.
Damn.
Alrighty.
All right.
I am here, and screw it, I brought dinner.
Hi. Grab the Rice Krispies treat. Up next is conspiracy. Now, this episode I'm pretty familiar with. So there's not going to be a ton of surprises for me. However,
I couldn't find it, but somewhere back at like the second convention I ever went to, I bought a copy of the script of this from Majel Barrett Roddenberry from Lincoln Enterprises.
that's cool.
And so I had the whole script written out as it was originally.
That's awesome.
Definitely one of the freakiest episodes.
I agree. I remember the ending of this episode being real weird.
Oh, it's weird and gory.
You ready?
I am ready. Let's go for it.
Give me a quick second because I need to correct that. There we go. All right, we're gonna go on go. All right.
All right. Hang on. I've got to bring up the. Okay. Yep. Tell me when to go. So.
All right. 1, 2, 3, go. Ah!
Very humorous.
Data. That's not creepy at all. What the hell?
So, this was originally supposed to be the introduction of the Borg.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We are the Borg. Your resistance of your necks is futile. Eh?
So, if you think about it, Borg at the beginning were all about being a hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
Those were glasses that were originally from Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. technically from Star Trek II for when they drank the Romulan ale.
Getting from there to here. Immediately. Oh, that's not weird at all. Yeah, it just seems real bad.
Yes. Well, this was 2 different episodes. Originally, the conspiracy in question was just a simple military coup within Starfleet.
Wow.
Roddenberry vehemently opposed the idea, since he believed Starfleet would never stoop to such methods. Originally written by Tracy Torme, who we've talked about this season already. He's a son of the famous singer Mel Torme. And his name came up as the writer of a book in Picard season 2 on screen as a little shout out to
Oh,
him. And he
nice.
just recently passed away, in fact.
Not so
But
nice.
no, and Maurice Hurley and Rick Berman had this idea for a different plot. Tracy Torme has said that he had hoped to make this a commentary on the Iran Contra affair, which was fresh in everybody's mind at the time. In fact, the original name for the episode was The Assassins.
Hmm. Well,
A quick shout out to my daughter Zoe and Mike. Hello to them if they happen to be watching right now. I think they might be.
I need like a shout out thing.
That'd be cool. We should do that. I think we know somebody that can do that. or some way that we can do it.
Huh. I would like to see these ships.
Well, that was the thing. We'd all hoped to see them, and at least in the original version, I can't remember with the remaster if they show anything, but I don't believe so. They also got better with echoes as time went on. You notice when he walked into the turbo lift, there's a nasty echo of him because he was going into a small enclosed space.
Hmm. Is it a
That would
Benazite?
it was a bullion. First on screen shot of a bullion. Hmm. Well then, there we go.
Oh, look. Oh, sorry, I missed this from 3 minutes ago, John.
Huh.
Look, Starfleet got a black captain before we got a black lady president.
Yeah, no joke. The Outer Rim. The actor who played Rix here was Michael Berryman. He was also known because he was in Star Trek IV as the officer who sat at the table in Starfleet Command that later ended up being in the engine room on the Enterprise here.
Okay.
He's a very distinctive actor.
He looks like a fish.
One of us. One of us.
That's not the song that you say right now. Did you mean to send that to all the YouTube channels, John?
No, I don't know how to change that from going out. It just goes out automatically.
See where it says all down at the bottom near the chat bubble?
No,
Do you see the down arrow?
I do not.
Well, don't know.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Definitely has a very different feel from everything else that's happened this season.
Yeah. That was a weird little smirk.
Uh-oh. Hmm.
Hmm.
So one of the scenes on the screen that Data was going through showed a picture of a bird with a Starfleet uniform on and a human head with the title "The Great Bird of the Galaxy," which is a reference to Star Trek's creator Gene Roddenberry, who was given that nickname back during during the original series.
Hmm.
Ruh-roh.
Wasn't he told specifically,
Hmm.
do not talk to anyone about it? He has now talked to the entire command team.
Well, almost. Not everybody. First time we've ever had
Computer conversate.
the computer shut down data. Perhaps. Mm. After the original series movies, and the fact that almost all of them had some connection to Earth at some point along the way. In fact, they did actually all. I think they were kind of pushing to point out that it's not as common to go right back to Earth. Hey, Remick. That's certainly odd.
Doubtful.
And that is a reused shot of San Francisco from Star Trek 4. And that was a commercially available binder for school age kids. I'll have to find. They did such a great job of making it look as though Remick had no idea what was going on there.
Right. Oh, white-haired men.
Well, that's what a bug inside of you will do.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Dun dun dun. Oh, hey, look, there's a guy wearing a scant. I believe that's the last time you see that. I mean, you don't normally go down to Starfleet Academy or Starfleet headquarters armed. And in the very bottom of the scene there, you see two Tellarites because they were part of the original shot from Star Trek 4.
Oh, that's cool.
The admirals all play this so wooden. It's the one part that kind of takes me right out of it.
He's a Vulcan.
Well, true.
Ain't he supposed to be like that?
Good point. Also, why would any part of Starfleet Command be that empty and that small?
Yep.
Okay, this is a great scene as you see a stunt double multiple times, especially in the remastered version. Right there. Very
Yeah.
clearly not him. And you will see it here in just a moment during the kick and
Yeah. Wow.
other spots. Right here, too. I love this. Bam. Bam. Right here.
Oh my God, he looks nothing like him.
Yeah, not at all. Again, it was filmed in regular resolution. They weren't expecting you to be able to see that much detail.
Tellarites.
These are apparently
Okay.
candle holders.
Do
These
you remember?
glasses.
Yeah, they look like it. Do you remember that Star Trek game we played in where I played the captain and I
Uh-huh.
kind of subtly hinted that the Romulans should just genocide the planet?
Hey, look at those doors. Yes, I do remember that.
So, Joanne, John and I were playing in a Star Trek Adventures game, and I was the captain, and we ran into a group of these people. They were on a planet, and I think it was Romulans. It was a group of Romulans who had been wormed or whatever. And a Romulan warbird showed up and was like, "Hey, we're trying to deal with this too." And I, as a captain, like we'd gone through this series of things and like determined you can't save them, you can't heal them, whatever. And it was like, okay, cool. So they're unsavable. Got it. Hey, Mr. Romulan Captain, I'm just gonna look this direction if you just want to shoot them.
Hmm.
So I kind of inadvertently advocated for genocide against these poor lizard snake people.
Bam. Only time we see the doors actually come off.
Very smooth breaking, though.
Yeah.
It would have been a mercy kill. That's right. Like, I didn't want to do it because it's Starfleet Captain, but I would not have objected to the Romulan warbird laying down the pain.
I love it. Worf is about to get his beat on. There's the stunt double again.
I like how the stunt double appears after his head moves.
Yeah.
He loves that
Hey.
table. The whole wall just moved, John.
Yep. Here's Beverly.
Here's Beverly.
Badass Beverly.
Just unload the battery on him.
I don't know. Let's find out. She always says either I don't know or let's find out. So I had a 50-50 shot there. Oh no. I definitely just accidentally hit the back button on my
All
on my
right,
screen.
pause it.
That's embarrassing.
Where are you at?
A black screen. Give it a moment, it'll come right back up.
Yeah, I think you're right, Joanne. I think John's right too. It was such a low resolution 35 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap, 35 years ago. That
I am at 3401.
Okay, I'm at 3413. So let it play through
I
to
can.
3413.
Okay, there we go. And start.
All right.
What's that? All right, I forgot the is, but
It's a pimple poppet.
I was gonna say Dr. Pimple Popper would love it. What do you know of conspiracy, Scott? Why are they just opening him right up to all of it? Huh.
Wow.
They've barely talked, but okay. Not sure why he had to take them just to set them down there instead of just letting the admirals do it themselves. Those chairs were also in Kirk's home in his apartment. Although the torchère lamps are new. Those are different. That is a cool, and that's from the original. That was not part of the remastered.
That is really cool. Hey, if you're out there, I'm not sure how to say it, but CM. Oh, CM Punk. Thanks for the follow.
Hmm?
I got a notification that somebody followed from here. So
Ah,
I
nice.
don't think they've been in the chat. Nope.
Doctor doesn't beam down to Starfleet headquarters armed. Love it. The anticipation, the jump scare. Ha ha. Very interesting. Even before you take the lid off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what these actors actually ate was chow mein. And interesting how the security guard sits down and starts jumping down. Those
wonder if
are
they could.
mealworms.
Oh yeah, no. I wonder if they could access the Vulcan's telepathy.
Good point. So if you notice those doors, those doors were so fancy for this show in its first season, and they were repurposed. Those doors end up being the doors for 10 Forward starting next season. You to come after us.
Makes a good episode of TV. Getting from there to here.
So, following the tradition of Riker during this first season, he actually had to eat mealworms.
Oh,
And then the scenes were not actually added or included in the episode.
that is hysterical.
Oh, well, we know that the Vulcan nerve pinch isn't as effective.
Yep.
Woohoo! Bam, bam. Kind of interesting seeing that phaser effect with the little waves coming off of
Yeah.
it. And that excellent map of the galaxy as shown thus far. That was a really great image that was created for this show, and that is the wheelchair from earlier this season from the
Oh, that
Admiral.
the dude was in
Yep, repurposed.
a season 2 short or something.
Too short a season. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, Remick. So apparently this shot was redone many times to get it right, and the man who was blowing into the tube to inflate the bladders in his neck to give that neck look. They joked that they were trying to give him try to cause him to hyperventilate because every time it bulges, that's a guy just blowing into a tube. We seek peaceful coexistence. Ha!
Holy. Shit,
You didn't remember that, did you?
not at all.
That was a mask of Paul Newman, the actor, that was filled with raw meat and then blown up.
That's a card's face.
Yeah. Notice it was hard to see back in the day on the original resolution, but when they show the body, look at how many of the bugs that are dead.
Oh,
Hmm. Hmm. So originally the Borg were envisioned to be more of an insectoid race,
yeah.
and these were going to be the drones. The beginning of the next episode, they go to a planet that's had a huge chunk of it scooped out, which later on was something that the Borg were known to have done.
The colony scoop.
Love this trill. This So the idea was this was going to be kind of the first wave, the the drones for the Borg, and and then they were going to introduce the Borg in the season 2 premiere episode. Unfortunately, the writer's strike at the time caused the premiere to be backed up by over 2 months. It
Oh,
was October before the first episode premiered, and they did not have time to write out and ended up dropping it for mid-season. And by that point, the insectoid version of the Borg were going to be so expensive to produce that that they just didn't do it.
but Borg is short for cyborg.
Hmm. They wouldn't have necessarily been known as the Borg. The name
No.
came about, but it was the concept of who it is. And yes, Joanne,
Well,
that scene is easily. In fact, there are a lot of parts of the world where that episode can be shown, but they actually clip out the head explosion scene.
that was
It's
shocking.
yeah, oh
I was
yeah.
not ready for that. That was some Lost Ark or whatever it is.
That
Very well.
was Maurice Hurley, the showrunner at the time, who was trying to shake things up and make it a little different. And
Sure
by
did.
this point, Roddenberry was quite upset about that. So
Um, I'm sorry. I just looked up at my screen, and because I've moved the screen over now, OBS is capturing me, and I look like a character from Mario because it's so pixelated. Um, oh, actually, I can show you.
hey, there we go. Da 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 da.
Oh, yeah. I can't imagine the Borg being any different than they are. I mean, imagine the years of history that went into building such a monolith of lore.
Yep.
Like it would
Although
be
Although,
nuts.
if you think about it, a lot of the aspects of what they were designing were just never rewritten. They never threw the whole book out on them and started from scratch. So the whole hive mind, um, the I mean, they basically the Borg act like super killer ants. If you think about it as kind of a comparison,
Yeah,
and that's what this was all supposed to be about. Um, and that's one of the things of the Borg that has evolved over time. And they never really lost that whole hive mind thing. In fact, they kind of leaned in on it quite a bit. Uh, but at the same time, it didn't exactly fit for what the finished product. Um, Not to mention having a hive mind and a collective is great until you need um, drama and something happening. In which case, that's why they ended up bringing in the Borg Queen, because there needed to be a face to go along with it. So
Right.
a little thing about Remick and the so it was a mold of Paul Newman's face that they happen to have available already on site. It was filled with raw meat and then blown up to create the effect. Both Rick Berman and Peter Lorreson were concerned that it was going to be too graphic. He was uh, Peter Lorreson was a producer for the show, and Dan Curry, who was in charge of uh, the he was the visual effects supervisor for the show. Really interesting man. I've actually got a book of his that I've shown on this channel before. The Art of Dan Curry. He created a lot of the martial arts that Worf ended up using. He created the batleth, in fact, that Worf and others use in the show. But Dan Curry invited his 6-year-old son to watch the episode in order to test how children would react to it. The boy apparently liked it so much that he suggested that they make a Remick action figure whose head would blow up by pressing a button. And when Rick
Did
Berman,
they?
no, but when Rick
Oh,
Berman heard about it, he decided to go ahead and air the episode uncut with the full sequence included.
okay.
I love it. That's a fun little behind the scenes that makes a lot of sense when you, you see it. But like the BBC in the UK edits and removes that shot of his head exploding when it's aired.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But anyway, so that seems like it should be the season ending episode. It is not, however. There is another episode that, boy, if you think about it now, if the season finale that we're going to watch next week hadn't happened, the reintroduction for the first time in decades, not only in on the show Star Trek, but also in universe. They talk about the fact that nobody has seen or had any contact with the Romulans in long time.
That's cool, though.
So if that hadn't happened in what we watch next week, think of how different everything would
The
be.
Dominion War.
The Dominion War.
Like,
I mean, basically Picard as a character becomes so intrinsically linked to the Romulan culture over the
the
years.
Romulans and the Borg are history. I think it's Shenzon, the supernova,
Hmm.
like two big touchstones. I mean, obviously, we have never seen the Great Evacuation or the supernova unless it's in comics, but those are two big things, second only to his interactions with the Borg.
Hmm. And
So,
even there, you know, the friendships that he has later in life with Laris and with
and the dude with the forehead,
yep, and the Northern
the
Romulan,
Northerner, the Yankee
A-
Romulan.
and of course
Hey,
Elnor.
something that I heard this week. Oh, and Eleanor, yeah, that I thought was super fucking cool, and it made me think of Star Trek.
Okay.
Um, there's a company called Colossus Biological, and they harvested DNA from the tooth that is 10,000 years old and a
Of the
jawbone
dire
from
wolf.
70,000 years old of dire wolves, and
Hmm.
have cloned the first three dire wolves on
Yes,
planet Earth
in
in like
10,000 years.
10,000 years. Do you
And
know what they named the first two?
no.
Romulus and Remus.
Ha 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 ha. And I was reading today that George R. R. Martin was invited to come visit them and got to hold one as a photo opportunity.
How do we de-extinction an animal and bring a whole ass animal back, and he can't finish a book?
Well, and to be fair, in reading about this, it was there are not really technically dire wolves as they were originally. They used a host genome and replaced 14 genes or
Yeah.
modified 14 genes. But yeah, basically they're the closest that we can come. But the implications of that, while it can be scary, can also be pretty amazing because um, with being able to prove that we can modify individual genes like that, there are the possibilities at medical miracles and cures that could come about
Agreed.
are very, very significant. So
Hey,
big deal.
I hate to cut this off, but we have to end
No, no.
by 2 hours. And have a great night, everyone. Like and subscribe, do all the things, and we will see you next time. Where is my mouse? Where the hell is my mouse?
I don't know.
Live long, stay
I've got a
nerdy, y'all.
cat here that can help you if you need it.